All right, this is the good one. This is where we talk about the steps of what we can actually do. Just some ideas, some brainstorming when we feel like we don't belong in a certain group or community or context. What are some of the actual tangible structural things we can do to move to belonging? But I don't want you to just jump to this 5th video in the series because it would miss so many other moments. Please, if you haven't, go back to the video 1 where we talk about what are some of the emotions and why it's so important to feel the emotions of not belonging. And the 2nd video where we talk about what are the 5 questions that we can ask ourselves that bring up so much self-reflection and help us really observe and gather and gain all of the insight that we have there. And the 3rd video where we look at the most powerful emotion that can help pull us and be our motivator through from the not belonging to the belonging. It's so important. And the last video, which is so hard, but what are the benefits? What have we gained from this experience? So we would be missing so much, my friends, if you just jumped into this, because it's not just about external changes, it's about internal growth. Being in alignment in this world, having a sense of belonging is not just external. It's not just them doing something and us doing something. That's part of it. But part of it is how we feel, how we show up, what we've learned, our emotional maturity, our emotional intelligence. And so don't short circuit yourself, my friends. Let's do the whole journey. If we're going to feel this, let's gather everything we can from it. My name is Shasta Nelson, and I definitely felt like I didn't belong a couple of months ago. And since then, I've been really thinking about it, and I've been doing my own work, and now it's been 3 months. And looking back, I want to tell you what are some of the tangible things I did in a specific community where I felt like I wasn't sure I belonged. I had a lot of shame. Do I fit in? Am I good enough? Like my own insecurities. But also a lot of blame. Are they reaching out? Are they making room for me? Are they cliquish? And so I had all those things swirling around together. And most of us in our sense of not belonging, it's easy to withdraw. It's easy to blame. It's easy to say, they're just a clique or they da-da-da-da-da. And we just have all these stories that we make up, let's be real, about who they are or who we are. And neither might be true. We might be amazing and they might be amazing. And so that's why doing the first 4 videos is so important. But here we are now saying, okay, they're amazing, I'm amazing. That sense of not belonging came from a place that wanted to belong. So I'm not going to withdraw because that's silly. That wouldn't lead me to feeling belonging. It might make me pretend and think I'm safe, but safe isn't what I want. Belonging is what I want. So, okay. What are some of the things I did in the last 3 months to move me from that initial feeling of not feeling like I belong? And you can go watch the video. I did it the day after, so it's a little raw. You can see me not feeling like I belong. And now I'm eager to go to the next in-person event and see all the same people. I haven't seen them since in this gathering, and I'm excited this time. So what happened? All right, I want to share with you my list. First of all, I committed to showing up consistently. That sounds so small, but sometimes it's really hard, isn't it? When we don't feel like we belong, we want to go less. And it's because it's not meaningful. Our brains unconsciously are like, that wasn't very fun. I'm not going to keep doing that. And yet the irony is we have to lean in sometimes to actually get the results we want. Very similar to exercise. You can't go once and be like, well, that didn't feel good. And I didn't see anything change and assume and conclude that exercise doesn't work, when in fact, exercise only has amazing results the more often you do it. And same with our social health, my friends. We have to keep leaning in. We have to keep attending. We have to keep going. And the only time it's going to become more meaningful is when we do it more often. It's never going to be one time meaningful. It comes from consistency. So that meant attending, clearing my calendar and prioritizing weekly virtual meetings that this community hosts. It means making the time to show up and to RSVP and to really protect my calendar to be a part of those conversations. It was huge. That was significant. I would say the second thing that I did within that context was I had to practice a little bit of vulnerability. It's one thing to show up with my body. It's the second thing to actually show up present. So hard, especially if you feel like you don't belong, because I don't know about you, but for me, like walls kind of start going up. I can feel the barriers. I can kind of feel myself, protect myself. And boy, that's why the last 4 steps are so important, because I was able to remind myself, I'm not in danger. Nobody's attacking me. I am safe. I am safe. Even if I don't feel like I belong yet, I'm safe. And so it allowed me to be a little bit more vulnerable, which meant When the group has open share time, rather than just looking back and kind of sitting on the outskirts, I shared some of the things that were going on. I asked questions. I validated people. I interacted in the chat on the Zooms. I interacted online in the different comments and the different posts. I shared some things. I posted some things. I responded to other people's posts. So I not only engaged, but I practiced revealing a little bit of myself, which is hard to do, but do it mindfully. Say, if I'm going to get closer to people, it's going to require a little bit of vulnerability. Is it scary? Yeah, but it's okay. This is not high-level vulnerability. I'm just practicing putting myself outside of my comfort zone because I don't want to stay in my comfort zone. I don't want to stay safe and protected. I want to move toward connection, safe connection, but connection. So act vulnerably. The third thing I did is I actually reached out to a couple people one-on-one that I would like to get to know better and set up Zoom dates with them. It was easy for me several months ago, long time ago, to sit here and feel like, oh, I don't have the time for that. I don't even have time for all the people in my life. I've got all my friends. I don't need to do that. And yet I showed up at this in-person gathering and I felt like I didn't connect. I didn't know everybody. And so I had to take responsibility for that and say, of course I don't feel like I know everyone. Of course they're not going to know me. I'm not reaching out. I'm not taking the time to build relationships here. So if I want to feel like I belong in this community, I need to actually take the time to build relationships. And so I initiated, I scheduled, I connected, I had some one-on-ones with people. What a difference that is going to make when I gather with the big group again next time. Because now I have some connections with really cool people. Plus, I gained so much from those conversations. So win-win-win. So scheduling some Zoom calls. The fourth thing I did is there's actually 2 other women who live near me who are part of this community. It's a national community, and yet I looked online and saw that there was a couple people within an hour from me, so not right near me, but close enough, right? And so I did 2 lunches where I was able to connect with them and have in-person connections. And now I feel like I've got some people I'm excited to see again at the next national gathering. Like, yes, that's so worth the little moments and the little connections that we can make in between. Okay, here's another good one. This one's hard. This is another act of vulnerability. I asked for help. Oh my goodness. It's so much easier for me to give help than it is to ask for help. I don't know about you, but asking for help is such a powerful bonding thing. I remember when my husband and I first moved to this neighborhood, I love going and delivering banana bread for sure. So I do love giving things, and I think that's such a powerful way to bond too. But the first time we needed a tool, and I remember saying to my husband, I'm gonna go ask the next door neighbors if they have this tool. And he was like, his instinct was, don't inconvenience them, or maybe they don't want to loan the tool. Like, it was just very like, no. And I was like, that is such an easy ask. And it helps them feel closer to us that they were able to help, and we feel closer to them. It gives permission to each other that we are there to help each other. And so I went and asked for the tool. He was so happy. He not only wanted to give me the tool, he wanted to come help me use the tool. And all of a sudden there's a relationship happening. And now when we talk with each other, we look back on that, and he says, we love having neighbors where we know we can be there for each other. But the only way we ever know we're there for each other is to have asked for help in the beginning. And so I brought that same thing to this community. I have a brand new speaker's reel that I'm working on, and it's kind of vulnerable to share a speaker's reel with other speakers and ask them for feedback. And yet I asked in the community, and 4 people quickly said, send it my way. I'd be happy to weigh in. And those 4 people weighed in with vengeance in a beautiful, beautiful way. Vengeance probably isn't the right word there, just fiercely, very committed, very sincerely. And I sure feel way closer to those 4 people. I feel so grateful to those 4 people. And they saw my stuff. They know who I am. They saw my speaker's reel. They weighed in. We had conversations. That was powerful for bonding. Let's see what else I have on my list. Oh, I scheduled an appointment with one of the organizers of this community. I had a phone call just to kind of share a little bit about my experience and what it felt like in this setting, and what I had heard from some other people, and what some ideas were that maybe could help address some of these things. And I validated what all they were already doing to help with these things. But I was taking initiation. I was kind of saying, like, here's some learnings that I would be happy to pass on. And if there's ways I can support, ways that I can help, let me know. So I reached out and I initiated that. I reached out to the people who are helping coordinate, with hope that in the future we can avoid more people feeling the way that I did. Number 7, I committed to going to the next in-person gathering. It's actually in a couple of days from now. And I'm excited. I'm actually genuinely excited. I can't even believe that last time I went, I felt all that sense of fear and feeling of being left out. I almost quit. I almost didn't want to come back. I didn't want to engage. And yet here, I did all these things, and it's an entirely different experience, my friends. I feel entirely different. I feel connected. I feel excited. I feel like I'm going to see new friends. And how powerful is that? And that was all my doing, quite honestly. I left that last gathering wishing they could do more to make me feel included. And come to find out, there's a lot I can do to make myself feel included. Because really, what is included? What is belonging? What is not belonging? What's not being included? It's often just a sense of like people who have built relationship and people who haven't yet. That's the focus. It's people who have put in the consistency, the positivity, and the vulnerability. Because I haven't done that, I can't begrudge them for them having done it. I can't be mad at them for becoming friends. I can't like sit there and say, how dare you build relationships when I want to be in a relationship, and yet I'm not doing anything to do that. It's really a powerful reminder that sometimes our sense of belonging isn't about other people. They don't have to show up differently. Reciprocity doesn't always mean that they need to be the ones coming toward us. It can mean we come toward them, and as long as they say yes and meet us and connect with us and say they're open and willing, that is what we need. That is belonging. Belongingness happens when two people connect. It doesn't matter who initiates it. It just matters that it happens. We can do that, my friends. We can absolutely do that. And so I hope you enjoyed this 5-part series. I hope enjoyed might not be the right word. I hope that it was transformative and reflective and thought-provoking. What I want for all of us is a greater sense of belonging. I want you to know and to feel empowered that it's going to be normal that in settings where we are new or different, that we are going to be tempted to feel like we don't belong. We're going to see other people experiencing belonging, and our brain is going to try to trick us into thinking we don't belong and that we're being rejected. But we know better. We know better. We know that all that means is that this is proof that relationships can happen in this setting. When we see other people connecting, that does not mean it cannot happen for us. It means it does happen here. It is happening here. And that can give us hope and inspiration that if I too show up consistently, share myself vulnerably, and help contribute to positive feelings toward myself and toward them, I too can feel bonded. I can help create my own sense of belonging. I want that for you. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. May we all just know to our core that we belong and that we can help create that belonging.